Hi, I'm Madeline James, and welcome to the very first video of 2023. I cannot believe how fast 2022 went. I wanted to take a few minutes to kind of reflect on what I got done last year, what I spent all my time doing, right? And then look at the goals I had set at the beginning of 2022 and find out if I actually hit them or if I didn't. Let's go ahead and start with what I wanted to get done in 2022 and just briefly talk about whether or not I hit those goals, and then we'll talk into kind of mapping out what my 2022 looked like and what I actually got done. I want to talk about what draft phases I went through, what projects I worked on, what my word counts kind of looked like, and all of that. And, just for a little bit of context for everyone that's watching, I am, otherwise employed full-time, so I do have a full-time day job. And I do have 2 little kids, so my time is pretty constrained. I have a limited, time window each evening, which, there's also laundry and a husband and other things to, occupy my time. So sometimes it can be a bit rough. And also, I will link the videos wherever, but I also recently did Sarah Cannon's HB90 course, or Heart Breathing's HB90 course. Not sure how to say that properly, but I did that for Q1 of this year, so I've been really reflecting a lot on the time I've spent, so I think this is going to be really informative for me, and I'm really hoping that we see a big change moving into next year. I just went through and watched my video. It was like a 2021 recap and 2022 plan video. Alright, so I'm going to watch this video in clips, and I'll kind of just put them up here for you to see. But I separated all of these goals, it looks like, into 3 sections. The first being writerly and bookish goals. So let's see what the first goal was. First, I really want to get some of the books off my TBR. Okay, I did not do this at all. I'm so much of a mood reader. I don't know. I do really want to try and read more physical books, like physical TBR books that I have next year, but it's not going to be a priority for Q1. I'm thinking maybe there'll be a later quarter in the year that I can make it more of a priority, but did not do this one. So then my next goal for my Blood Magic project, which this is going to be the hardest goal, I want to finish revisions this year. And this has been my goal since I finished, the first draft, but it takes a lot longer than you think, and I've been pushing myself a little bit too hard in December where I haven't really been able to get much done. So I'm really hoping that I can manage to finish the revisions this year. Yeah, I did not finish revisions at all. I did not start querying. I got through, the 4th draft, it ended up being a really, really major rewrite that I wasn't expecting to have to do. So I had to kind of re-outline the whole thing and basically write the entire book back from scratch. So I probably had slightly unrealistic expectations anyway, but then that took way longer than I was expecting. So no, we have not done that. I want to finish about 50% of the first draft of my Magic Forge project, which means I also need to finish outlining and character creating and world building and doing all that kind of stuff. Did not make as much progress on this either, kind of for the same reasons. I also had, I ended up having a lot less time, especially in the last quarter of the year, what with, we had a lot of
family responsibilities, we had a lot of sicknesses, we were ill a lot, so that was just really rough, but just a lot of stuff came up in general. But I am at, I'm on scene 10. I finished 10 chapters or 10 scenes of my Magic Forge project out of, I'm not sure how many there are, 36, 40, something like that. So I'm probably closer to 25%. I just broke into Act 2. So didn't quite reach that either. I really want to go to a writer's convention. I think it would just be super fun, and it's okay if it's an online one, virtually, or if it's in person. I'd love to go to an in-person one, but with 2 small kids and a pandemic going on, I'm not going to force that. Nope. Did not go to a writer's convention. I did, however, go on a writing retreat with some of my writing friends, which was really awesome. I do still want to try and find a writer's convention. It's just, every time I look into it, I just get so overwhelmed by all the ones out there. And it's like, if I only get to pick one, how do I know which one's the best one? So, I don't know. maybe the second half of the year I can make that a priority, but for right now, it's a bit difficult. All right, the next section of these goals are platform goals. So this is like social media and YouTube. And if you've been watching any of my vlogs, you know that my priorities have really shifted when it comes to social media, so I have a feeling we didn't hit many of these. We'll see. I want to grow on Twitter and Instagram. I don't really care how much, but this basically means I want to continue producing content consistently that I enjoy creating that, allows me to grow a little bit. I don't think I grew on Twitter and Instagram. I kind of stopped posting entirely. Like, I barely ever post on Twitter, like maybe once every 2 months tops. And then I've been really bad on Instagram lately, like really, really bad. I don't think I've posted since, let's see. My first like serious post was I had a post in September, another in September, another in September. Okay, so I was doing good in September. I had 2 in October, and then I really didn't post anything. I had 1 at the beginning of November, and that was it. Like, not really being on Instagram. I have 684 followers, which I think is basically what I've had for the last like year. I have 1,600 followers on Twitter, yeah, which again, that's basically been holding for a year and a half. I'm not super active. I do look at things and comment on other people's stuff sometimes, but I don't get joy out of it, and it's just been something that I have to kind of make myself do, and I don't like doing it, so I stopped doing it, which I'm fine with, but didn't do that. And I am at 126 followers right now. My goal for 2022 for YouTube would be to continue to post consistently, hopefully averaging about 1 video a week, and then I'd like to grow to maybe 500 followers would be my goal. All right, so this one I did meet, the first one, wow. I looked it up, I posted 61 videos last year, which, is obviously more than 1 a week. I know there are some weeks I skipped, but I did also post 2 a few weeks, so it kind of evened out. That's about right. And let's see, I wanted to grow 500 subscribers. And I did actually grow from, I think, 126 subscribers to I think I have like 715-ish right now. So that's pretty good. I haven't been trying to like optimize follower growth or anything. I've just kind of been, I don't know, doing what makes me happy and doing what kind of fits into my routine and my schedule. And so yeah, I'll count that one as a win. The next section is personal goals, and that definitely was probably the biggest trial of this year. So my optimism is low. I want to be eating the right things. I want to be eating enough food. I want to be getting movement and exercises in and keeping my body strong enough to reduce the amount of pain and like autoimmune flare-ups that I have. Yeah, I'm gonna say no for this one. I did definitely do some working out at the beginning of the year, and I'm planning on getting back into it next year. Exercising is one of my goals, but I had a lot of health problems that kind of started happening, I guess, in March, probably, and those really threw me for a loop, and I kind of got to the point where I was just like, I'm not gonna try doing any of this extra stuff. Like, it takes a lot of energy trying to get yourself to do all these new things and exercise consistently, and it takes energy that I just didn't have, and motivation I didn't really have either. It was just kind of like, I was sort of in a holding pattern in that area while I was figuring out what was going on with me and getting tests done and trying to just figure out ways to cope with everything. So I don't know. I'm eating a little bit better. I've kind of figured out, that I was just kind of eating. My portion sizes were a little bit too big, was more the problem than me eating the wrong things. So I've been, getting a bit better about that, being a lot more intentional, so that's good. But definitely have not made movement and exercise a priority. I basically consciously decided that I was not going to try to do that while I was figuring out what was going on and taking off a lot of my meds, and I was just like, nope, we're just gonna coast. We're just gonna coast until we figure out what's going on. So yeah. but I also want to reduce my stress levels. So if I can kind of reduce that, kind of be healthier, stay, less stressed, and find a balance between being productive and doing things that, help me be calmer and more relaxed. Because I get the most done if I spend, half my time writing or something else that brings me joy but is productive, and then the other half of the time kind of just chilling. Okay, here's another win. I do think I've done a really good job reducing my stress levels, and this sounds really weird because I had so many stressful things happen this year, what with, the health problems and just like a lot of stuff coming up in the family and then being sick a lot. Like it was a pretty hard year, but I think I also did a really good job acknowledging that. Like, I don't know if just being made aware of it the previous year helped with this, but I definitely did a lot better job of if I was stressed or starting to get stressed, I would, do something that would help. And I gave myself a lot more room to do those things. Now, definitely not perfect, and finding balance is something I'm going to work on next year, but I definitely think I've reduced my stress levels. Looking back, I don't feel like I was that stressed. Like, there was definitely a week in the beginning of, December, where I was not doing good. And some of my, I have weird migraines. That sort of is the current explanation of what's been going on with me. Weird migraines that don't actually have headaches, they just have weird neurological issues. But I had a lot of those at the beginning of December, and I think I was getting a little bit stressed then. And I suspect that some of the other times where I started having a lot of migraines were also times when I was stressed, but I guess part of figuring out how to minimize the migraines and the neurological issues I was dealing with sort of came with keeping myself de-stressed. So the things that helped with that helped with the stress levels, which is kind of interesting. It's like I had a physical manifestation of needing to treat myself better. Yeah, we'll go with that. But yeah, no, I think that's pretty good. Tying into all of that is just to prioritize spending time with my family and, with my kids especially. I think I definitely did this. I think that it's one of those things that, in a way, you can never prioritize your family enough. Like, it's still something that kind of fits into the balance goal I have for next year, but I don't know, spending time with my family is important. My kids are getting a lot more engaging, I guess. I can actually interact with them a lot more, mainly my daughter. She's, getting close to being 2 now, so they're all a lot older. I have been, doing lots of things with them, doing lots of things with my husband. We've been doing, occasional, date nights and spreading out the time we spend together a little bit more and being a little bit more intentional about it, which is nice. But yeah, no, I think this one is pretty good. So I don't really want to call 2022 a failure. I don't think it was a failure. I think a lot of things came up that I wasn't expecting, and I think I handled it with as much grace and energy as I could, if that makes sense. Sometimes things come up and you have to pivot, and, making these goals at the beginning of the year aren't always going to be a direct reflection of how successful your year is, and that's something that the last few months I've really been thinking about a lot and kind of coming to terms with, because I didn't hit, literally any of my writerly goals, and that's a huge priority in my life. So I think that given everything that happened, I think 2022 was solid. I don't feel like I've backtracked. I've still been writing consistently. I stayed on YouTube, which is the platform I care about the most, consistently. I think I took care of myself as well as I could. I think I spent time with my family as well as I could. And you know what? We're going to call that a win. We are going to have better goals for next year, mainly more realistic goals, smarter goals that leave room for things coming up. But in a way, it's also good to have things to reach for. And, it's okay to have to reshuffle those goals. It's okay to have to adjust your expectations. So we're gonna go with that, and then with that done, I think we can talk about my goals for 2023. Okay, so I want to sort of start with what my Q1 goals are for 2023, which I'll be brief because I have a whole, HB90 video series where I go through setting these goals and sharing what they are.
But then I will talk about what I want to get done the rest of the year, because part of the HB90 workbook is that you talk about future projects, and there's a whole section for looking ahead at what you might want to do in future quarters. So I sort of mapped out what I might want to do the rest of the year based on seeing what a realistic goal setting quarter looks like. And again, I will have to see how Q1 goes and adjust and everything, but this will give me an idea of what I'm reaching for. Okay, so my goals for Q1. So for writing, I have 2 sub goals for each of my projects. For my Blood Magic project, I want to get through draft 5, which will essentially be not a developmental pass, but a slightly more developmental pass, just kind of cleaning things up, going through a bunch of feedback. The last draft I just did was that major rewrite, so I'm sure there are still some issues that were, introduced with that, new pacing problems, sort of like a mini developmental edit, I've done the big stuff multiple times, so we're more focusing on smaller developmental stuff. So that's that goal. And then for my Magic Forge project, which I'm drafting right now, but I want to get through another 15 scenes, so I will be, I think, about halfway done at the end of the quarter, and then ready to start a new draft on the other book the next quarter. Yes. My goals for YouTube aren't really a goal, it's mostly to just continue to be consistent, post the videos, keep posting my world building guide series, which, has been going really well and I've been really enjoying it, and I hope you are too. And then I think I put a subscriber grow count, but it's more just for being able to track it. I want to be making progress, because I think that, as you gain subscribers, that doesn't necessarily correlate to the amount of engagement you get, but that's the real goal, right? Views and people commenting on your videos is the real goal, because that means you are, developing a community, you're engaging with people are actually watching the videos you're posting. And so I want to be doing enough right that I'm growing in views and engagement, and I imagine that if you're not growing any subscribers, some of those people are probably, maybe they subscribe to you, but they're not watching you anymore. I would see it would diminish maybe. I don't know how many active accounts there are, but at least on Twitter, having, the same follower count for the most part kind of means that, a lot of those people probably aren't active anymore or something, or they just don't look at your stuff and the algorithm doesn't show it to them, so they don't care about you, they don't look at your stuff. So you'll see diminishing engagement. So I'm not really that concerned with it, as long as I'm not stagnating or declining. I think that I'm still doing a decent enough job here. I like talking to y'all. I like, when people comment, it makes me happy. I like the community side of it. It's fun, whatever. So that's that goal. And then the third goal is balance. And this is essentially where I want to try and most days do something that's productive. So towards maybe my writing goals or my YouTube goal. And then I want to do something that's going to fill me back up, help me relax, de-stress, whatever. So this is reading a book, taking a bath, doing something that's self-care. And then I want to do something that will help build me back up. Something that's productive, but in a self-care kind of way, if that makes sense. So not relaxing, but this could be things like cleaning or exercising. And a sub-goal of that is I want to exercise at least, I think I said 3 times a week. It might have been 4. I think it's 3. I don't remember. But I want to be exercising again. I've been slowly working this break on getting my cycling machine not covered in laundry and getting it set up again so that I can, watch YouTube videos or read or watch TV or something while I cycle and get in the habit of that again. The first week will be a little interesting because I've been having hip problems, but we'll see. That's the other problem with all the exercise stuff and movement, is that my body likes to fall apart, and any little thing just kind of, yeah. So I'm trying to be really, really realistic with my goals there, and if I am hurting, I'm not going to exercise. And maybe an alternative to that is that I can do some stretching, or maybe not stretching, that would be bad, but just something that's engaging my muscles that I can in a safe way a little bit, just so that I've still, even if I'm not really making progress, I'm still working on the habit, maybe. So I'll try and work on that. But let's move on to the entire year goals. And I'm not setting these in stone, maybe next year we'll reflect on them. But for the most part, I just want to sort of have an expectation of what I can shoot for. But the end of Q2 is sort of like the big milestone I'm shooting for, and that is because I want to completely finish my Blood Magic project, and then I want to start querying it. So that quarter might be like a lot of querying prep, doing one last like a line edit pass, fixing up those little details, and then I want to finish draft 1 of my Magic Forge project. And part of that like big milestone is that it works into the cycle I'm trying to start, which is I am writing a book, revising a book, or I guess writing and planning a book, revising a book, and then querying a book at the same time. So when I finish my second project, which is my Magic Forge project, finish that first draft, that will move into the revision stage, and I can start planning and outlining for my next project. And then at the same time, I'm going to start querying my first project, which is the Blood Magic book. So I'm hoping that'll keep things moving in where I always kind of, like, I think that's a good long-term sort of cycle to have, good progress. And also by the time if I give up on querying and shelve that book for now, the Blood Magic one, I will already have one that around the same time is going to be ready to start querying itself. So I should be able to take a short break, start querying the next one. When that one gets shelved, then I can start querying the next one, so that I'm always moving towards something and I don't, fail at querying a book, realize that the book and me and the market maybe aren't all at the place they need to be for this to happen right now, and then just don't have something to do next. So that's a big milestone that I want to reach at the end of Q2, which matches my mid-year goals that I sort of did this past year. Was my goal to kind of do that in spring. Might be a little bit into summer, but that time frame. I may have to post less videos that month or that quarter just to, or just don't do extra. I have a tendency to do extra. So we'll try not to do that just so I can focus and get all that done. But then I want to be querying throughout the rest of the year. I have notes here that I'm looking at. I want to start planning that project 3, which I have no idea what it's going to be yet. I'm not going to start thinking about that until it comes for the most part. So I'll do that. Am I even going to start No, I'm not even going to start drafting it. So it'll just be planning and outlining, or maybe not even outlining, but planning stages, right? And then I want to make a revision guide, start the next draft of project 2. And yeah, I think that's all I have in here, which isn't that crazy. It doesn't sound like a lot, So altogether, I want to take my first project, my Blood Magic project, through the rest of revision, start querying it. For my second project, Magic Forged, I want to finish the first draft, start working on the next draft. And then for Unknown Project 3, I want to start planning it. And those are my writerly goals for next year. I sort of have some other goals, but they're not very formal, and this is sort of along the lines of I do want to keep reading books off my physical TBR. I am so bad at it. I don't know why. I do have this plan for making a physical TBR kind of a book, which I have some of the stuff to do it. I've been kind of gathering things as I see them and coming up with ideas, but it just hasn't been a priority. It might not. I don't know when it will be a priority, but we'll see. So I want to do that. We already talked about balance, which I think is going to kind of carry out throughout the whole year, and I don't know if I have any other goals. I'm going to have a lot going on at work this year. I imagine there's still going to be some medical stuff carrying over, I'm going to have to get a whole nother round of tests in March. Oh no, did they do it a year after the incident or a year after they did the test before? I'm not sure, but either this spring or this summer, I'm going to have to get a ton of tests done and go through that whole process, and I don't know. I'm sure it'll, assuming nothing changes and they don't find anything, right, then rude. But assuming nothing changes, then it shouldn't be that crazy. So it might be pretty uneventful. Yeah, I think it'll be a pretty uneventful year.
Hopefully. We have a couple like vacation plans, a couple of exciting things going on next year, but we're really trying not to use a lot of our PTO so that we have the time to take mental health days when we need them, and when we just really want to get some stuff done around the house, we have time to do that, which will be really nice. So, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to 2023. I feel really good. Now, I felt really good based on watching last year's video, I felt really good then. I had a lot of great intentions. You can't always predict what's gonna happen, but for right now, I'm really optimistic. I'm really excited, and if you are open to sharing, I would love to hear about what your goals are down below, or if you're another author tuber and you have your own video, post the link down below. Let me know what they are, just let me know there's a video. And yeah, welcome to 2023, and I'll see you next time.